Okay. So the batch apex means whatever the apex clause which implements database.batchable interface, then that is called as batch apex. Okay. So why we use the batch apex? If you want to process bulk amount of data, or let's say if you want to update or delete bulk amount of data, then you can go with the batch apex, because you know that there are governor limits, right? So governor limits are nothing but you can have only 150 DML operations per transaction, and so 100 SOQs are allowed per transaction. In that case, you can't update, or let's say if you want to update 10,000 records only can be updated through the list. If you have more than that, then it will throw the error. And only 50,000 records per transaction. In that case, if you want to update 5 lakh records or 3 lakh records, it cannot be possible through the schedule apex, or let's say normal apex classes or transactions. Okay. So for that, what we'll do is we'll go with the batch apex. So batch apex allows up to 5 lakh records can be uh, processed. Okay. So this database.batchable is an interface which is having three methods. One is start, second one is execute, third one is finish. Okay, three methods will be there. Okay, so in these three methods, start method will be executed only once. Remember that, executed only once. Okay, when you submit a job, then the start method will be executed first, and then that will only execute only once. And then finish method also executes only once. Executed only, completing the execute method. After completing the execute method only once when job is submitted. Okay, this is very much important. Means there will be three methods. One is start method, and second one is execute method. Third one is finish method. We'll talk about execute method. First will be the start method. Start method, when you submit your job, okay, then immediately start method will start executing. Okay, first start method will be executed. So what start method will do it? Start method will return whatever the records you are going to update. Those records will be queried from the database and will be given to the execute method. Okay, start method means if you see the schedule apex, the query will be there, logic will be there, update will be there, right? The same way, query will be executed in the start method. Logic will be executed in the execute method. Logic and update will be done. Let's say if you want to send some email or something, then it will be done in the finish method. Okay, so let's write and let's talk about execute method. How many times execute method will be executed? I have already explained you guys. Default batch size of the trigger is 200. Means per transaction it can handle 200 triggers. The same way batch job also it has a batch size which is called 200. Okay, and it will be, so default batch size is default batch size is 200, and it can be changed, means 1 to 2000. You can give 1 as the batch size and 2000 as the batch size. Okay, maximum batch size is 2000. Then here, based on this batch size, the execute method will be executed and that number of times. Let's say the start method has given 10,000 records. it is returning 10,000 records. Okay, it is returning. Start method will has returned 10,000 records, and then you have given batch size as 200. If you don't give anything also, default is 200. Then 10,000 by 200, then 500. 500 or 50? 500, right? 50. So 50 times this will be executed, this calculation. Okay. So this 50 number of times this execute method will be executed. Now you can get a doubt, that is then how the transaction limits or governor limits are avoided. For transaction there should be only so there should be only 200 records, or let's say 150 DMLs or 100 SOQL queries, something like that, right? But here, if you are returning 10,000 records or 1 lakh records, how it is getting handled? So database dot query, there is one method which will be returning up to 5 lakh records inside the batch of X only. Inside the batch of X, it returns up to 5 lakh records, and then for the execute method, it will be keep processing the number of batches. Let's say whatever the batch size you have given, those many records can be passed to the execute method at a time. Means, let's say if you have 10,000 and you have given the batch size 200, what this start method will do is, and this batch of X framework, what it does is, it divides the number of records into the chunks. Means in the batches, it will pass first batch to the execute and second batch to the execute one by one. Once the execute method is completed first time, then second batch will be sent to the execute method. Third time, fourth time, fifth time. Means that many 50 times that will be passed to the execute method. So execute method will be executed a number of times via the formula is number of records returned by the store method by the batch size what you have given. Okay. So this is about the batch apex. And then how can we execute this batch? Database dot execute batch. Okay, there is a method database dot execute batch. Okay, using this method you can schedule the, you can execute the batch apex. So let's go ahead and run batch apex. Same logic I'm going to implement this one, training batch. Okay, implements database dot batchable. Okay, database dot batchable. You can give whatever the records you are going to update on the this one. Then you can give training interval score C. Okay, so there will be 3 methods. Then 3 methods should be overridden here. First one, public. Okay, then here database dot query locator. Okay, this is the return type of this one. So this database dot batchable context. Okay, so then here, so here let's create one public string states. Okay, so how you can give is string query first to select get the query from here. Okay, so this is query, then return database dot query. Okay, so this is formal syntax. So there will be two types of types in the start method. One is query locator. Second one is the iterable. Iterable will also be there. Just try that. Let's see the slide. Second. Want to learn more about say start method. So there will be two types of return types: query locator or iterable object. Okay, database dot query locator. So iterable will be there. Execute method. So finish method will be there. See syntax of this one. Okay. So here this one. Is database dot get query locator. Okay, this is the so you should not use database dot query. Database dot get query locator. So because this is returning the query locator. Now this method, whatever you are using database dot get query locator, will return up to 5 lakh records to the database. Okay, now here let's write another method public. So execute method will be returning some nothing, void execute. Okay, here there will be two parameters: database dot patchable context. This is common point. Practical context basic, and you know that, right? I have already told you guys the records will be passed from start method to execute method. So if 200 records are passing, that will be the more than one record. So it will be list of records. What type of records it is? Training. So you can give training records. Trainings. Okay. Logic. What you are going to say this one. Copying here. Yes. So here, even if you are returning 500 records, at a time only 200 records will come based on the access. Okay. And finally, finish. This finish method, matchable context.
And I think screen it got stuck here.
Dot method stl start query context basic. So is a syntax error. Same method it is. Execute, finish, start query. Okay, so
Status.
one thing is
This is the
yes,
status.
start status equals
Status.
to
Status.
is why it was throwing the error. Okay, so here give as object means it allows any object to be used inside the batch of X. Okay, so now here how you can go ahead and execute the method. Let's say use database dot execute. Okay, here there are two methods. If you see this, if you pass just batchable apex object, then the batch size will be 200 by default. If you want to pass a specific batch size, you can use database.execute batch, the second method, which will be having this. Okay, so what you can do is first object is required equals to training batch. Here you need to pass parameters, right? Completed. Okay, so pass the batchable apex object TB, then batch size is 200 or 1. Let's say I'm giving 1. If you don't give anything, then it will be the 200 value. Execute this. Now, to see whether that is executed or not, you can go to the apex jobs. See this, batch apex has been completed. So one batch was there, only one record was there and one record is updated. Batch apex completed. Okay, so now see, this is 12.6 here, should be 12.7 has been updated. Okay, now, so batch apex can be executed only once, right? It can be executed only once. If I want to schedule the batch of X, how I can do it? I will go ahead and use training scheduler. Then inside the training scheduler, what I will do is I will execute this logic. Instead of calling the execute and everything, remove everything, just execute this. Here, pause the status. So now what happens is we can schedule the schedule job. So this can run every day, every hour, every month. Okay. Inside this you are calling the batch. So then batch apex will be scheduled using the schedule apex. Okay. So this is about the schedule apex and batch apex. And one more thing is you can call one batch apex from another batch apex. Okay, so let's say if someone asks you that if I want to call one batch apex once the first batch apex is completed, you can call from the finish method. The same code, whatever you want to do it, you can just take it and then execute. Keep it here. Okay, then that once this batch of X is completed, then inside the finish method, whatever it is mentioned, that will be executed. So the another batch of X will be called from the finished method. Okay, so that's about the batch of X. If you want to learn more about the batch of X, use the batch of X platforms. There will be different statuses. Okay, first it will be on hold. Okay, using batch of X. Where are the statuses? Here also, once when you say this, okay, there will be one more thing called FlexiQ. Okay, system dot FlexiQ. See, if you have more jobs, let's say 5 or 10 bad jobs are there. Okay, those will be in the this one. Here it will be there, right? Bad jobs will be there here. If you want to move the jobs, let's say 10 jobs are there, you want to run the 10th job at the first time. Okay, before executing 9 jobs, I need to execute the 10th job. That is important and critical. Then what you can do is there is one thing called system dot flexq dot move job. Okay, then if you give the job ID, then it will go to the first move job first. Okay, so if you see flex queue, you can see that as well, and someone will ask you that. Okay, how can you move the job using the flex queue and move before job, or move first, move last also there. Flex queue in developer. See here, what are the methods? Move after job means 2 job IDs. Okay, so to move the job before one job, then you can use move after job. Move before job. Okay, move job to end, move job to first. First, end, before, after. Okay, so if you want to move the jobs, you can use this one, flex queue. Okay, this is about the batch job, and writing the test class is not that much difficult. You have already having this training trigger test or something and all this. Okay, so just you training batch test. Okay, test is test static void data test. Check the records, then okay, training records are done. So what is the status? Started status. Okay. So simply you can raise test start test dot start test. Okay. Whatever the logic you have executed, use this inside this. Okay. But instead of start completed, you need to pause started. Okay, so here it will throw an exception. So when you are testing the batch effects, only one batch can be tested. So you are inserting 200 records, you are giving the batch size as 1. So try this, it will throw the error. See this? System unexpected exception. No more than one batch job can be called from the within a test method. Okay, so only maximum of one batch can be called. So as we are returning 200 records, give here as 200. Means 200 records can be processed at a time. Just try that. Now we don't throw the error. Okay, so this is done, and try the training batch code coverage 100%. Okay, you have to add the system dot asset. Okay, use that. All the records, get the training records. Trains updated equals to select this start date, then end date. Okay, end date is not given, right? What you are updating? For updating the end date. Okay, so here for the end date from trains. Okay, let them get all, and I'm giving system dot set trains updated of 0 dot end date not equals to, just updating like this, because we are not giving, first time it will be null. Once the batch job is executed, date will be set to today's date, so it should not throw any error. See, done. Okay, so this is how you have to do this. And for the schedule apex, try that. Just check the some articles and something, get it. And your work is by tomorrow, you should prepare the document for, or you should prepare the notes for schedule apex and batch apex. I will ask the questions tomorrow and the schedule apex and batch apex. Okay. So till this, your apex classes are completed. Tomorrow we will start the user interface like two things, Aura or LWC. Okay. So good. You can stop recording.